Hi, welcome back to the channel. As usual, my name is Mercy. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe because, well, you're missing out on stuff. As I spoke to you young ladies before, I am a strong believer of let's follow our passions. If our passions are not the career we are in, we can still do something about our passions. There's no reason why you should limit yourself to just what is your daily income, what gives you a pay slip. So for that reason, as I promised, I'm going to be talking to a few ladies who work in the corporate and have passions. My first one is Fatima.
Hello, nice to meet everyone.
So I met Fatima at a previous job that I was working at, and then we became friends after that. So Fatima, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yes, so my name is Fatima Touré. I'm originally from Mali. I'm from Mali, but I've grown up in different places, in South Africa, in the US, in Switzerland. So I'm really a product of the diaspora. And I'm a project manager by profession, working currently in a company in Geneva. And I'm also the owner of a leather goods brand called Milan. And also a mother of a beautiful 8-year-old son.
Wow, 8?
8.
Oh,
yes.
wow. Okay.
So I have 3 hats.
She does have her hands very full, don't we all? But, and she handles it so well. So do you have any spare time in that full dossier? Do you have any spare time?
It's really interesting. I have a very little spare time. I spend a lot of time working on my brand after work hours and at weekends with my family. But I've actually recently decided to take a bit of time for myself at different times of the week. So, for example, to maybe have a massage at lunchtime, or even something as simple as having a bit of reading time or Netflix and chill to kind of keep my sanity. So I have these little points in the week where I really try to spend time just by myself to kind of unwind and decompress. I think it's very important to be able to be functional in other areas.
And I think that's something that a lot of women do not pay attention to because we are busy being mothers,
Yes.
we are busy being wives, we are busy being everything. And then we forget that there is the me that needs to be also well taken care of.
Absolutely.
So bravo for discovering this and making time.
Thank you. I think a lot of women also feel guilty to spend time by themselves. I think that it's fundamental because once you're sane, and once your cup is full, you can pour into other people's cups.
Exactly.
That's very important.
Okay, so that brings me to the topic. Once upon a time, I'm not someone who loves bags because I'm more of a shoe person than a bag person. Like people keep finding that weird because apparently shoe people are usually bag people.
Yes, like me. I like shoes and bags.
So I'm not a fan of bags. I'm the kind who will buy one bag and carry it forever. She had a bag collection and I saw her bag and I liked it, and it was in the office, and I asked her, oh, by the way, where did you buy this? And then she told me she designed them, and I looked at her like, yeah, right. Then she gave me the link to her site, and that is how I came to know that she does her bags. So How did that passion start? Where did it come from?
Yes, it's a great question. So the passion for handbags actually started years ago with a passion for modeling. And I'll tell you how they're related. So when I was 15, I got scouted by a modeling agency in London. My father didn't want me, of course, to be a model because, African father doesn't want his teenage daughter to be in that world. And so I've always wanted to be in the fashion world, first through modeling. And then after, when I started working, making my own income, I started collecting luxury handbags. So Celine, Chanel, Gucci, name it. I love handbags because I feel like they're really statement pieces. They can really spice up your outfit, and they're also functional. And it's really a way of showing your personal style. And in that, I realized that while these brands are beautiful, I think some of them lack a bit of soul, a bit of, of a story. And so I wanted to bring an African story to the luxury handbag world. And so in 2018, I started designing bags. I designed literally over 100 different models in a few days.
Wow.
That I still have, in fact. And I realized it's something that I love to do. I love the process of creation, of having a seed in your brain and then seeing the tangible product is just so filling. And so I started designing bags in 2018, but it was only in 2021 that I launched my brand because I was actually in between jobs. It was a time when I actually had spare time, as we were mentioning. And I told myself, listen, it's now or never. So I created the company in Mali. designed one collection that I made in Spain. And since then, now I have 5 collections. So it's grown
nice.
from there.
So it's just starting from somewhere, right?
Yes,
and
exactly.
the opportunity presented itself when you are in between jobs.
Yes.
So you see, sometimes the in between jobs can actually be the time for you to start your passion.
Absolutely.
It did not stop you from looking for another job. It did not stop you from doing your next job. How do you balance that?
It's, it's very interesting. Funny enough, I got my current job exactly 3 months after creating my brand.
Okay.
So it was great timing because I think, like you said, it was a time for me to have a bit of, mind space to create my passion. And then a few months later, I was back in a corporate world. And honestly, I think it's doable. I think that women are very resourceful.
Yeah.
All women in the world. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
All women are resourceful because we're able to juggle family life, our corporate life, our passions. Because I think we have, specifically the way that we're wired, is that our brain is able to manage different responsibilities at a time. Whereas I think men sometimes get overwhelmed by the things, the little they have to do. And for us, I think
the 5 things.
The 5 things, exactly. And for us, the 50 things we have to do is just kind of, we compartmentalize them in our brain. We're methodical, we're organized, and we're able to execute. And I think we have that all as a strength as women.
Yeah.
And so honestly, the way that I do it is just that I have, I plan. I'm a project manager, as I mentioned. And so my profession is very much linked to my personality. I'm a very organized person. I do lists, schedules, and then I execute them. I leave some contingency for, time to slip over. And I realize that I'm actually not overwhelmed because I have a roadmap.
Yeah.
And so that keeps me structured, and it gives me a visibility on the future. So I'm never, I'm not often overwhelmed. So it's really just about organization.
It's a good thing that you mentioned that, because I was wondering how do you ever learn? Because one thing that people are afraid of is it would be a waste of my time. So somebody would look at you and go like, well, you're working in the aviation sector. What does making handbags have to do with anything? So
Right.
do you ever, there are skills that are transferable, right?
Yes. For me, in my personal capacity, it's really, as I mentioned, the project management skills.
Exactly.
So the planning. So when you're planning your schedule, you're planning your communications, you're planning your stakeholder engagement, which stakeholders you have to deal with and how you're going to deal with them. You're planning budgets. And so those skills that I have in the workplace are very much helpful in my business.
Exactly. So would you advise a young girl who's looking at this and thinking, or even a young man who's looking at this and thinking, I have a passion, but I have a job and I have bills to pay, so I'm not going to quit my job, or they want to have it all. They want to actually do both. Would you advise them to think about where their skills fit in, or would you just tell them, go with what your heart is telling you and then figure it out?
So I think there's 2 parts to that. The first thing I'll say is that there's never a right time to launch your business. There really isn't. I think what's important is to have a business plan. You do want to have at least an idea of, what your market is, what your product or service is, have a bit of budget, know how you're going to bring the product or service to market. Those fundamentals you have to have. But if you're waiting to have all your ducks in a row, i.e., a registered business, maybe a team already in place, an office, or, a production facility, then you're never going to start.
Yeah.
Start with what you have. And that's what I did. I started with one model in 3 colors that I produced in Spain. This was outsourced. And from then I was able to grow my business. So I would say start with what you have. Don't wait to have all of your ducks in a row before you launch your idea. And I also would say that I don't know if it's necessarily a good idea to leave your company or your job to start a business. And the reason I say that is that I think I've heard that the majority of businesses fail within the first 3 years.
Yeah.
And so it's really important to have that cushion. I have an income that I know that I can sustain my family.
Yeah.
And so it's important to have that, I think, that cushion that that you can fall back on if you need it.
Yeah.
And also, in fact, the income you make at work can be also starting capital for your business. So I think it's valuable to have both in parallel. I wouldn't advise leaving your job to start your business. You don't have to, I think, be that drastic. And then in terms of skills, yes, of course, you can often use the skills in the corporate world in your business, sometimes they're transferable, and sometimes you'll have other skills that come into play.
Yeah.
So it depends on the person and on the situation.
Okay. All right. So I always finish by asking people, are there any regrets that you have? Are there any wishes that if you were to get like a wish, or what would it be? Or are there any regrets that you have that you wish somebody would have told you? Because I'm trying to advise. This is me trying to advise younger people.
Great question. I think actually, in fact, I think they say that the things that we regret as people are the things that we don't do, rather than the things that we do.
Okay.
And for me, I think that I would have regretted never starting this venture. So I'm happy that I did. So I think my only regret is maybe not starting sooner and waiting until 2021 to launch myself. I could have started sooner. So I think that's probably my only regret.
You started your business during the pandemic?
I did, in fact.
Wow.
I
think I need to do a series about businesses that started during the pandemic, because this is the second person I'm talking to.
Exactly.
Who took the risk of starting a business at a time when everybody was worried about spending. Who was planning on spending money buying a handbag in 2021?
Exactly. And funny enough, there were quite a lot of orders that first year.
Wow.
Because people are at home. They're at home and they just they want a distraction. But I think actually beyond that financial aspect, I was actually more worried about something else. So I remember when I started my idea, I asked my friends, do you think it's selfish for me to market handbags during a time when people are dying, when families are, mourning losses? And for me, it was really feeling selfish to bring about a product and market a product when people were really having health issues.
Yeah.
My friends told me, actually, no, it's not selfish. On the contrary, it's giving people an outlet of positivity in this world of madness.
Everything is wrong. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. And people, thank you so much for listening and for staying tuned. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share with anybody who's worried about starting a job, about their passion just sitting there. Because as she said, the one thing that you might regret is the thing that you did not do. So you might as well do it. Have it all. Let's try having it all. Not this nonsense of telling people you can't have it all. You have to choose. Who said?
Exactly.
You can have coffee and tea.
Yes.